Now I can use those if I want, and they would be assigned that number in my item master, but I want to give my own company part number to this. So we're just going to very easily select everything in the interface, and we're going to change the item numbers for these. And I have a predefined scheme for this particular project, or this could be a company part number scheme depending upon your scenario. I'll just select that, and what I've got is some intelligent part numbers. Well, we know this is an electrical project, so I'm just going to choose that scenario. And what I want to do is I want to copy this to all the other files just to save me some time here. So I'll just select everything, do a right-click paste, and what it did is it immediately changed everything to the 400 series, which is assigning the electrical part numbers. If I hit preview over here on the left, you can see that I've got all the new part numbers assigned for this electrical project. I'll say OK to this. You can see all my changes, and now I'm just going to continue on with the assignment wizard and get this bill of material uploaded into our item master. So now what I want to do is I want to take a look at the item for this electrical project, and I want to show you some of the things we can view within the bill of material for that electrical data. And I'm just going to run an edit here on this. Resize my window. All right. Now when I view the bill of materials, it's going to show me the mechanical structure by default, and obviously those can be changed based on your needs. But it's showing me the mechanical organization, which is parent-child relationships. Now I can very easily change quantities in here if I want to. Maybe we know that there's a part that's shorting out all the time, so we want to place an extra one in there. So you do have the ability to go ahead and modify the quantities. I can also come in here and I can add existing things or new rows. Maybe there's some cable tie clips or something you want to apply to the bill of material. You can add things that you wouldn't include on your schematic drawings into this bill of material. I can also remove rows. Maybe there was something we wanted to remove and replace with a new part. You would be able to do those types of things within the bill of material editor. Now, typically for an electrical engineer, you probably want to see things a little differently. So what you can do is change the interface and show an electronic bill of material or electrical bill of material. And what it does is it organizes everything based on your locations. You can see here if I just minimize that one location, there's a series of those that show my reference designators. And I can just very easily go through and look at those pieces of information. I can go back to the mechanical view and organize this any way I want, but this just shows you different ways that I can organize my bill of material structure. Now if I want to print this out, I can certainly go over here to print, and it would create a print preview and then ultimately allow me to send that to a printer. But it really looks at how I'm organizing that structure, and then it allows me to print out the paper. But we don't want to kill any trees, so we'll just cancel out of that. Once I'm finished, I'm going to save here, but I didn't really make any changes, but I could save it if I had added something to the bill of material. So now we've got that electrical project added to our item master, and now what we want to do is we want to add this project, the electrical project, to our top level assembly. And that happens to be titled with a series of zeros for the item number. And this is the top level assembly. It's a welding fixture, and we want to add the electrical information to that BOM. Well, currently, just to show you, I'm in work in progress. If this was a released item, I would not be able to make any changes. We're just going to run an edit. And I can go into the bill of material, and we'll just collapse everything here and just show you. We've got a series of top-level assemblies, and what we want to do is we want to add that electrical bill of material to this top-level assembly. And I can do a couple things. I can type on text. In this case, I know what the part number is, so I can type that in as well. But if, again, I could have typed in ask electrical project if I wanted to, and it would have found that file for me. So we're going to add that to the BOM, and now you can see that all the part numbers that I assigned show up. The descriptions all came right out of the electrical database, and I even had the manufacturer part number mapped as well. I've got a lot of good information here that I can use to build my top level bill of material. Now, some other things I can do if I wanted to is I can run an export, and we call this pack and go. Maybe I want to send a package of all the drawings and all the parts to individuals in my organization. Well, I can run the pack and go, and it's going to run through and look for all the relationships and all the drawings. And what it does natively is it provides you with the inventor files, and I really don't want that. I want to send them the real lightweight files I've got. So I want to send them the DWIFs that I've created for this particular project. And real quickly here, you can see, if I just show you some of the main levels, it brings in all the data that's related to this project. More importantly, the things that I would probably want to include would be the drawings, the 2D documents. But it also creates the 3D. And if I want to, I can turn those off and only include the drawings for the electrical data as well as the mechanical designs. The next thing I could do is I could say mail recipient, and this would automatically send this information into Microsoft Outlook or whatever email you're using within your organization, and then you could create your mail list and then send that out. In this case, I'm just kind of showing you some capability here. I can also export the bill of materials. So if there's a need to export this to an external location, or I just want to print this out for some reason, I can export this to Excel and do some more things to that bill of material if I wanted to. In this case, we're just going to save this because we basically have made all of our changes, and we want to move on with the release cycle for this assembly. So I'm going to save this here. And just to show you, if I go to the bill of material tab and collapse this again, you'll notice that that electrical project is part of that bill of material. So now we want to release this so that it gets sent out into the organization. And the way I do that is I just right-click on the top-level assembly, and I go to new change order. And it's going to go through and evaluate everything that's part of that bill of material and then bring it into my interface here. So this is the second part to our presentation, which talks about change orders. And right now I have an engineering release order, but I also have an ECO template as well. So this is the first time we're releasing a project into manufacturing, so we're going to do an ERO. But again, I'll come back to the ECO and we'll do that a little later. So we're going to add some information to the change order here. We're going to just put some simple notes here that just says this is the first time we're releasing this, so we're releasing it to manufacturing. If there was a due date that we want to assign to this, we could certainly do that through this interface, but we're going to just fast track this release, so we're going to do this today. And then down here at the bottom, this is customized information that would be tailored to your environment. So if you've ever done a paper ECO process in your design career, you know that there's information that needs to be captured on that paper process. And this is exactly what you would do. So we're going to choose an initial release for the reason for change. There's no cost to the change because it's initial release. There's no impact on inventory because we're not changing parts that might exist in inventory. So we'll say no change there. And we're not modifying any parts, so there wouldn't be any tooling changes as well. But again, what we can do in this environment is create lists. We can create yes, no variables, or just simple text that you could enter information. So again, you're really capturing all the information that's related to this particular change, or in this case, an initial release.